So I want to thank the Tufts Africana Center, specifically Ms. Katrina Moore, for her dedication to making this happen. Without your love, energy, and resources, this would have never happened, so thank you very much. And although she is not here, I would also like to take a moment to thank Ms. Charlene Hurd, who was instrumental in providing her knowledge, her assistance, energy, and love as well. Without her, I never would have been able to hang these physical works up and frame them and have them on display for you all to see. Another immense thank you to Amanda Greaves, who put my name out there in the first place. And also an enormous thank you to everyone who came out to support my artistic endeavors today, so thank you all very much. It means more to me than you'll ever know to have you all here with me in this moment, so thank you. And a thank you to my mother and my aunt for coming this way, all the way from New Jersey, so I love you. So just quickly, I'd like to introduce my works and kind of the stories behind each portrait. So I'm currently writing a story, and like the art is more an extension of my story. So when I write, I like to kind of make characters that are like breathing and living, because if I'm writing, I don't connect with who I'm writing about, then it becomes difficult. So the first character is Buiku. So he's based on my actual brother. Like all these characters are my siblings, they're my relatives, and these are actual pictures of them. So this one is based on my brother Jason. This is an actual photo of him. It was created in China while I was abroad in 2011. So the character is much like my brother: athletic, naturally charismatic, direct, wild, and a bit of a ladies' man. But his character is also insecure, and as a result, he craves the limelight and craves attention. Buiku, like in real life, is best friends and partners in crime with Panahasi, who is my brother Jay. Panahasi, based on my brother Jay, this image was created in 2007, but edited most recently in 2012, just because I didn't like what it looked like. Much like in real life, Panahasi is the loud, humorous, charismatic one that takes life by the horns. He's a ladies' man for sure, and acts like as a crucial link in my story. His character is essentially a hedonist. Panahasi loves fun, lives for the thrill in life, and basically believes in the one simple phrase, YOLO. There will be one crucial moment later in the story, however, that changes him forever and makes his character consider what's really important in life. So, the next character is my sister. It's based on both my sisters, Karima and Keisha. So I just kind of merged the characters together. So this is the face of my sister, Karima, but the character personality of my sister, Keisha. So the image was created in 2012, and the character Nanu is much like Keisha, tomboyish, driven, and bold. Her character is very much like a do first, act later type person. I mean, do first, think later type person. But the evolution of her character is from a princess who feels she's confined and defined by her status as a woman to someone who is much more spiritual and much more aware of herself and her purpose in the larger scheme of things. This is the same character essentially, but this is before I got a chance to actually meet both my sisters. I only recently met both my sisters, so this is like a projected image of what I thought they would look like. So my brother Ptah, well, in real life his name is Kamin. The image was created in 2007. Ptah is much like my brother in real life. Wise, poised, spiritual, quietly powerful, a jokester, but also a natural born leader. So in the story, he's being groomed as like the next king in line until tragedy really befalls the kingdom. And much like in real life, he is best friends with my own character, Rock, who's based after me. Kalika, my aunt, is a character who I made in 2007 as well, the image at least. So the character Kalika, much like in real life, is a source of inspiration and love in my character, Ra's life. She, along with Queen Moseret, act as sources of guidance and our recurring themes of the story. She's able to wield magic as well, and she was the one who guides me through my newfound abilities and newfound status as an other, because magic in this world, and like much as I understand in many African societies, is considered evil. Magic in the sense that like traditional magic outside of dominant religions is considered not good, as I understand. And she's also Queen Moseret's sister. So, Queen Moseret, my mother, is based on a photo of my actual mother. This was created in 2010 while I was at school. Much like in reality, her character is a warm, sweet, wise, but also firm and resilient in her beliefs. Much of my character in the story is shaped by her existence, and her character is a recurring one throughout the story. She offers me guidance and wisdom during the moments where I need it the most, and her character is the queen, presiding over a massive kingdom with her husband and Kosi. She is my best friend and confidant in this story as well. Oba and Kosi. Oba just means king. I forget which language this was, but it's a Nigerian word. But anyway, he's based on my father, Jay. And it was made in 2011 while I was abroad in China as well. So much like in real life, Nkosi is ever present and an anchor in my character Ra's life. So early in childhood, Nkosi serves as Ra's and his siblings' source of love and affection. He is essentially God to his children. Nkosi is someone who my character Ra aspires to be until Ra is basically cast out of the social sphere because he finds out that I'm able to wield magic. And so Nkosi is powerful, imposing, and loving, but he's also stubborn, paranoid of things he doesn't understand, and set in his ways. And my character, Ra, based on me, this is a picture of myself when I was like 16, so yeah. I did this image in 2007, I just edited it recently to make it sepia. So, much like in reality, this character is thoughtful, creative, sensitive, humorous, but also much more pensive than the majority of his other siblings. His character is a projection of my inner self. So when I was creating this character, I didn't want to kind of give somebody, create a character that everybody knew of me. I kind of wanted to show people the other side of me, the much more quiet, much more reserved, much more thoughtful, and much more sensitive side of myself. So it's a projection of who I think I am, and less of how everyone else sees me or might perceive my nature. The story is based around his character. Him coming to understand his purpose in the larger scheme of things as a light worker, and which I'll explain later. His own power and his own beauty and uniqueness. He wields magic and his powers grow as the story progresses. So essentially my story is kind of about a family, and a family that struggles like any other family, but the thing about it is that my character is able to wield magic. And like I said, magic is evil in this society. It represents all things that are unnatural. And so my character kind of comes to this realization, and I had the ability to see into the future, and so I can see something attacking my kingdom. I can see something harming my people, and so that kind of sets the story in motion and kind of guides everything that happens in the story. So I love to read and I love to draw, and I've loved doing both since I was little. My first memories of me doing art were really when my mom just sat me down at work and said, "Look, Manny, I'm going to do some work, but here's a pencil and some paper. Draw." I drew my first piece then. It was a simple pen, pencil, and a highlighter picture of something called Stinky the seaweed, a seal, and a really trashy-looking mermaid. That, or the time, I did a stencil outline of some Disney character and showed it to my mother and my aunt. They subsequently burst into laughter and then tried to tell me it was good. Even then, I knew they were lying, and my picture for it was pretty busted. But that began my journey, so that's how we're here. So, however, it wasn't until recently that I saw a purpose and a need for what I was doing. So, what really inspired me first to kind of draw was, I was at work basically and I was reading. I obviously wasn't doing the work that I was supposed to be doing, but I was at work reading. And I stumbled upon a link that talked about the slavery of Sudanese people, Sudanese Dinka people in North Africa. So I read on and I kept reading until I found myself crying like an idiot at the computer. Nothing had ever struck me like that. This was in part due to the fact that I naively thought that slavery was something of the past. And it struck me even more because these people looked like my ancestors, they looked like my family, and I saw myself. I then began digging even further into African history, buying books, looking through every website, perusing everything I could find that could possibly quench this hunger I had. So I realized quickly that I was searching essentially for myself, in a sense, and I was searching for a connection back to a land that I was denied, and I was searching for a history that I had been severed from. Although my ancestors were not Sudanese or North African, the Sudanese story made me embark on this crazy kind of quest. So I can explain my story to you all forever, but essentially it's a love story addressed to all those who are part of this grand legacy of people who identify as Black African descended people. Like I said in my biography that's over there next to the artwork, my artwork is an extension of my writing and what I believe. I love and have an affinity for beauty in all forms, and I create with that in mind. However, tethered to this notion of beauty are also heavily political ideas. My work, and specifically my writing, come from a place of frustration. It confuses and angers me when I realize that there is a serious dearth of representations of Black people that are positive and holistic in all forms of media. Are Black cultures worldwide not worthy of mainstream recognition? Is there a serious lack of folklore and tales in all things magical in Black cultures? Obviously not. And this is not to say that there are no good representations of us, but using exceptions to justify the lack of something is never right. I was tired of reading or seeing very one-dimensional black characters who people are comfortable with because they fit into a mold or stereotype that's repeated and reimagined and rehashed time and again. This is what I mean by holistic. I'm creating characters who are black but are holistic and full people in that they show a range of human nature and emotions. So I absolutely love sci-fi and fantasy. And I was really tired of reading fantasy stories where everyone was from some fancy part of the UK, was blonde, fair-skinned, named Aragorn or Catherine, or was otherwise completely unlike me. Exactly. So I think people seek stories to get lost in a new world, but I think it's fair to say that many people read stories in hope to identify with the character. In a larger sense of being human and sharing struggles with the character, I could often relate. However, when it comes down to it, having no characters that had wide noses or dark skin or hair so thick it could break a comb was problematic for me. I created the story out of that desire and that love for myself. So my story symbolically attempts to do several things. It is symbolically the story of African Americans and other diaspora African descended people who were forced from their home into an exodus that they were ill prepared for. My characters are forced from home in that fashion. Something invasive and entirely alien, disrupting a way of life and bringing about change. My characters, much like I feel most black people in the diaspora are today, are lost and without direction or initially any ideas how to get back home. I've situated my characters in a universe where everybody's black, not because I want to alienate other people or kind of deny other people their agency or other people their kind of sense of identity, but I'm doing that to reassert traditional ideas about beauty and power. People in my story come from a range of backgrounds, very wealthy to very poor, showing a range of access and power. And related to that, another much more intense issue is related to skin color and power. Skin color within the black community is a touchy issue, and at first I was really like, should I say anything about this? Should I really address something that I know? For many black people, it's something that is a part of our collective ancestry and is a part of a collective scar that we haven't really healed over. But I figured if I'm talking about my artwork, I might as well talk about everything in entirety. So my story deals largely with issues of beauty and ideas of what beauty are. One can argue that beauty is subjective and that it doesn't matter. However, living in the black community tells you something different. So I know that you and I have had like a lot of discussions about this, about beauty and within the black community. So when you have girls bleaching their beautiful black skin, or boys saying they don't date black girls because they don't want to reproduce and produce dark children, there's a much larger social issue that isn't really being addressed. My bad, get a little emotional. So we are impacted by media representations of ourselves all the time. And it's unfortunate that for black people, the ones controlling our image are rarely ever us. I'm attempting, through writing and through art, to produce a world where it is considered normal and considered beautiful to be dark, brown, thick, nappy-haired, and unashamedly so. Even if the world doesn't tell black people how beautiful we are, I will.
All right now.
I'm good. Okay. Even if the world doesn't tell black people how beautiful we are, I will. Because I believe that if we are told for long enough that we are worthless, we will believe it.
All right.
Woo! So, in a sense, my work is subversive. Through my work and my art, I'm attempting to reach. Damn it! Through my work and my art, I'm attempting to reach a large audience regardless of race, gender, sexual orientation, sex, etc. But I'm specifically reaching out to black people.
All right now.
And saying several things. You are worthy. You are worthy, you are beautiful, you are powerful, and you are wonderfully made.
All right.